Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Drive Thru Podcast with your girl, Monica Leigh. Listen, today is not just any old episode, okay? Because we are kicking off something very, very special here. It is our very first Drive Thru exclusive. And as all of you know, one thing I love most about this podcast is creating space for conversations with people whose experiences can inspire us, that can challenge us, and remind us that along the way, every journey comes with its own lessons. Okay. So many of you know today's guest from the basketball world, but this conversation is actually about getting to know the person behind the accolades, the experiences that have shaped him, the lessons he has learned along the way, and the perspective that he has gained through life's highs, lows, and everything in between. He is a former professional basketball player, coach, mentor, and my favorite of all, a proud father. And I'm so excited to welcome him as my very first Drive Thru exclusive guest. So, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Devin Sweetney. Hello, Devin.
Monica, how you doing? How you doing? First of all, congratulations on everything with the show. I love it. I think you're doing wonders, and I think it's very authentic for just the basketball community, altogether, player side, coaches side, parent side. I think this is unique. This is a very unique platform that you have here, and it's a pleasure to be, doing this and, to be your first guest, and I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And thank you so much. You're giving me my flowers right now, too. So thank you so much, sir. Before we get started, I do
Okay.
have to share something with you, Devin, because I thought it was actually kind of funny. And, when I initially thought about inviting you to this podcast, I knew you would bring such a great story regardless. Okay. But then I realized this is episode 16. So I thought, episode 16, sweet 16. And there you have it, Sweetney 16. So I was like, you know
Yeah, I
what?
like that.
And listen, I promise that was not the plan at all. But once I realized it, I thought, okay, this was definitely meant to happen. So
Yeah, the universe,
absolutely, absolutely.
what they say, life be life, and the universe is doing is big one right now.
That's
So
exactly what
good.
it says.
Yeah,
Right.
that's good.
So Devin, we're just gonna jump right into it. I want you to take us back, if you will. I want this portion of it to, we'll call it meet Devin Sweetney. So
Okay.
for this segment, I would like to know, and everyone, the world would like to know a little bit about who Devin Sweetney is. And more importantly, what was life like growing up in the DMV area? And what were you like as a child? Give us that part
All
of
right,
Devin.
let's start off. Well, I grew up in Southeast Washington, D.C. I didn't really go too far outside of that jurisdiction, just maybe like Seat Pleasant, Oak Crest. Started off very young, very come from a good family. My grandfather and my mother raised me. Very, 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 very strict, very tough, authentic people. Very hardworking. I would say I grew up an only child. First day I fell in love with basketball, I was probably 7 years old. My mother was a aerobics instructor at William Beans High School. Well, William Beans Community Center. I'm sorry, and you know, I would just be running through. I was bored, so I would just be running through her little aerobics class, and I forget the guy's name, but one of the guys that worked for the rec center, he was like, he gave me a ball. He said, "Hey man, go on that end, dribble it, do it like this, dribble it, and try to, make it in that hoop."
Mhm.
And I think for me, I learned at a early age that I didn't like not being good at something.
Understood.
Because my first coaches, they'll tell you like I was a project. I was
Mm,
awkward. I just my feet, I was like a baby deer, just trying to kind of stand up and my coordination wasn't right. So I think just not being good at it was crazy how that, as cliche that sounds, end up becoming my greatest asset. I want to be good at it. I became obsessed with, just developing and, my love for the game and, having a strong, strong, strong mom and just, support system. I was able to grow with this thing. And yeah, and turned out well. And
yeah.
I never was, one of the best players. It was I got used to being playing with better players at a really early age. So
Hmm.
I think I had to, and I said this in the game related podcast, I had to focus on like intangibles, like hustling, playing hard and using my voice and, just my God-given like instincts. Wasn't easy growing up in Southeast Washington, D.C., single mom, working two, three jobs to, try to provide and make ends meet. So,
Right.
there's a lot of distractions.
For
So,
sure. When
you
did you realize, I guess, that basketball became more than just like a hobby? When did you realize that it became something that empowered you and that literally was part of your life? At what age did you kind of realize that, or was there a specific moment in time that you realized that?
so I think I've always been fortunate to have come out of good programs and, have good coaches,
Right.
to kind of bring something out of me that I didn't see in myself at the time. We start with rec ball with Coach Mike Durton and Coach Mack. To I was fortunate enough to play PG Jaguars, legendary PG Jaguars, Joyce Tillman and PK Martin. And we know some of the players that came out of there: Charlie Bell, Chris McCray, Kevin Durant,
Some of the best
Michael
ones.
Beasley, Chris Braswell, myself, just so many guys that, got their start and we were 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9 years
Hmm.
old. That turned into, playing Team Maryland, Coach Lou with his Falconeers program, a lot of good players to come out of there. Then I was fortunate enough to go eighth, ninth, 10th grade with DC Blue Devils with
Hmm.
Rob Jackson and Ray Smith, and then they have endless guys that's came out of there, and then 11th and 12th grade, Curtis Malone, um, Moose, DC Assault, David Cox, so I've had the best coaches
For
to
sure.
ever mentor young kids. And shout out to all those names that, I just called because Lewis Wilson, my high school,
Yes.
Chuck Lattimore, those guys, they poured into me and they gave me the confidence that I would say that I probably just didn't have.
For sure.
And I'm just grateful, because I think a lot of, now with me being a coach and, college, we see it all. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like you
Right.
get these kids and they're good kids and you just ask like, who's coaching you
Right.
at the school? You know what I
Right.
mean? Because, just habits are just a thing. And when
Very
our
true.
area where it's just so small and everybody knows
They
everybody
sure do.
and is and our area can be at times very, very rich in talent sometimes, but a little bit poor in character.
Absolutely.
And so it's like you see that, and I can honestly say that I am fortunate, all humility, to have come under some very, very successful
For
basketball
sure.
umbrellas.
For
And
sure.
I think ultimately, um, the background with my mom and how hardworking she was and how hard she was on me with that, with the structure and the coaching, that helped me fight through some things in life, man.
For sure. And I
And
think that that's the power too of, the sport of basketball too. It's more than just a sport, right? It's a conversation, it's a
yeah,
culture, it's a community. And that's the beauty of this sport,
Yeah.
which is also so near and dear to me as well. But one thing before I want to kind of pivot into your actual playing journey is what did basketball teach you about yourself before it became your career?
Can't do nothing in life without confidence. And you get confidence through your daily work and your daily habits, and the discipline and the sacrifices and the time you put into it. I got so obsessed with getting better and having a chip and, because I never was the blue collar guy. I wasn't the kid
Right.
in eighth grade who, got the invite to Nike camp who they like, oh, watch out for this kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I wanted to be, I knew I wanted to work to get, my shine as well.
Absolutely.
So I became obsessed with just the grind, just getting better, like being the sponge, like playing basketball every day, all night. Like,
And I think that's true though, right? If you want to be great at something, you have to become obsessed with it. You know,
yes,
you
yes,
have to. I'm glad that you spoke on behalf of that too, because I think it's really important too. You see so many athletes these days, not even just in basketball, but just in sports in general. They say they want to be at a certain level, but they don't want to put the work in to get to that level, or they
right.
don't want to be consistent about putting in the work,
I mean,
So,
now I tell these kids, I mean, it is too much talent out here now because you got to think when I was in middle school, high school, no one was talking about like there were a couple players that once every draft you get a kid from Europe or
hmm,
African kid or somebody gets cracks the NBA. But now, I mean,
right,
global basketball, and now we're seeing how we got the Wemby's, the Giannis's, the Lucas,
right.
the Shea from Canada. Like you
It's like
see,
another level.
it's a whole, you see what's out there,
Right,
and now it's like it ain't just America.
right, right.
I think the odds when I was coming out, they were saying like for a high school basketball player, I think Dave Hopler did I went to Eastern Invitational and he did a shooting. He was the shot guy. Like he made 100 free throws in a row, 3 pointers, like just shoot mechanics. And he
Hmm.
asked everybody. I'll never forget this. This was at the College of New Jersey. He asked everybody. He said, "Who wants to go to the NBA?" Everybody, everybody raised their hand. The
Raise
whole
their
camp,
hand.
all 400, 500 campers, or whatever the insane number was.
Hmm.
Everybody raised their hand. He said, "Let me just maybe one of you." This he
Right,
said it. I mean, crushed us. Like I'm like 14, 13 years old. I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna make the NBA. Like,
right.
I'm not gonna be good enough. Like, he's like, maybe one of you might get a shot. Maybe might. He said the odds of all of you guys are high school, middle school, rising freshmen, sophomores, juniors. He said the odds of you making it to the NBA or wearing an NBA jersey, you have a better chance of winning the lottery,
And that's
the power,
crazy.
the mega millions.
Because when you think also of a lottery, you already know like the odds, oh my gosh, it's almost
It-
imaginable.
no,
So just
no,
saying this for the NBA, yes.
no, I knew exactly what he meant because my grandfather raised me and
Hmm.
he played numbers. I know for my entire, until he passed away at 15, my entire 15 years. And he never won. And he played that number every Friday.
Hmm.
My entire life up until 14, 15, he never won.
He
So
never won.
when he said that, I got goosebumps. I said, oh,
You knew it was
I gotta
serious.
work.
Right.
I knew it was serious.
Right.
I
Right.
knew it was serious. So those are just like vivid, you know,
It's like
moments.
it was like that when you heard all of that, you knew, oh, he's serious.
Right. But then you got to think, I went to DC public schools before I went to Riverdale. So you know what the teachers were saying. You
Right.
know, six black men, right? So he lined us up. You. One of y'all gonna end up in jail. One's not gonna make it.
Right.
One's gonna be on drugs. It may one out of six of y'all are gonna be successful.
Right.
These are the odds.
Right. Right.
So to go to school and hear that, right? And then the only thing I've ever loved outside of my mom, my family, was basketball.
For
And then
sure.
to play this thing every day and then think I'm getting somewhere and to hear that, I'm like,
I would feel like it's discouraging, yet it's almost could be empowering too, because it would make you be like, I'm gonna, it might be 1%, but let me prove that maybe I could be that 1%,
no, absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. And Monica, when I heard those conversations outside of hearing my mom's voice and my granddaddy, his tone,
Hmm. I can imagine.
because I made that choice at that age at 14, 15. Like, yeah,
You're
I'm
locked
gonna beat
in.
the odds.
Yes. But I love
You know what
that.
I mean? I'm gonna beat the odds. Watch, I'm gonna show you. Y'all don't think I'm good enough? Okay, bet.
Or
Watch
like
this.
how my father would always say, I can show you better than I can tell you. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And I think that's important. And I think, honestly, when somebody tells you that you can't do something, you probably won't be able to do something. All that's doing is that fueling you to actually prove to them that actually you can and you will. So I think that's actually a very good point. And speaking of, let's talk about Devin. Let's talk about your playing journey. Can you walk us through your journey from, as let's say we're at the high school level now, and how that manifested to college, and then what came after that?
Okay, so ninth grade, I went to Bell Multicultural Senior High School, and one of our my assistant coaches from Team Maryland told me, "Hey, I'm supposed to be getting a job over there.
Mm-hmm.
Build this program up." Okay, cool. I'm gonna come
Mm-hmm.
over there with you. They end up terminating this contract before we got there. I got stuck. Had to play
Ah.
DCI, AA, JV. Tech World at this time was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
The coaches there got the job at Friendship Edison Collegiate. Come over there my sophomore year. They ended up, same thing happened. They ended up not coming, got stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to play in the DC Public Charter League. I ended up as a sophomore averaging 27, was fourth in the whole area in scoring.
Wow.
Coach Lou Wilson came and got me out of there. Went to Riverdale Baptist. Ended up leaving Blue Devils, played with Assault.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I, you know, put that assault on my chest and my offer start rolling through, I was a 16-year-old senior, which is insane because you have 16-year-old freshmen, and
Right. Right.
that's a convo for another day.
Right. But you're not lying.
Yeah, neither here or there. I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers. Hey, Coach Sweetney loves everybody. But, I was a 16-year-old senior going into, my senior year. And so I had a year to like kind of prep for, but my mom she wasn't trying to allow that to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
so I went with St. Francis was pretty adamant. That was literally my first offer. And they were pretty adamant about my development and me coming in as a freshman. And he didn't really say it's your show, but
Mm-hmm.
it was more so like this is what we envision you playing a big role as a freshman. And I didn't want to go to like a Georgetown or GW and sit the bench and not play until my junior year.
Right.
I wanted to play early, so went
Okay.
there. I had a good career. We didn't win many games. It was tough. A lot of injuries, some transfers, just two coaching changes. And it was tough. But I left out of there with, double major, business admin, marketing, minor soc, got halfway through my master's in educational leadership. I finished one of three, well, at the time, three players, but four players in program history that had 1,500 points, 750
Wow.
rebounds. Um,
Not too shabby. That's
not
nothing. Just
not too
1,500. That's
shabby.
all.
I was my per 48 was like top five in the country,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of efficiency.
Okay.
So I didn't
You
realize what
said
any of that meant.
how
I didn't
how
realize
good you were.
I didn't realize how good I had worked,
Exactly.
to get to. And, now I'm like, I'm getting NBA workouts.
Mm-hmm.
I got drafted to the D League straight out of St. Francis. So I would feel like I was very fortunate, and sometimes it's better to be, a big fish in a smaller pond, but
For
I
sure.
chose a place that I felt like I could go away, not be too far, and I can grow and
Mm-hmm.
become a young man and make my mistakes and learn from them. And St. Francis gave me an opportunity to be unapologetically myself, and they accept me, they accept my family, accept my mom. And I'm forever grateful for just that opportunity to, spend those 5 years in Loretto, because they definitely helped me mature and they definitely helped prepare me for life. So, uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, continuing, in terms of your playing journey, what would you say beyond being a college player as we start to pivot towards leading into becoming a pro? What was the most memorable thing in your professional career? And what was your biggest challenge in your professional career as a player?
the biggest accomplishment was uh, signing an NBA contract with the Denver Nuggets in my locker beside Nikola Jokic, who's arguably
Yes.
probably a center to ever play this game. That was my biggest accomplishment on media day. FaceTime with my mom, and she was in
Oh,
tears, when she seen Sweetney on the back of the jersey.
oh.
And I just want to, my biggest inspiration growing up, and he may not know outside of my mom and my granddad, probably was my cousin Mike Sweetney, who is a Georgetown legend, one of the best big men to ever come out of, PG County.
Hmm.
Number 9 pick in 2003 draft with LeBron, D Wade, Bosh, Nick Collison, Darko Milicic,
That's a lot of talent right there.
Carmelo Anthony. He went number 9. And for whatever reason, when I seen that Sweetney on the back of that NBA jersey, I was even more obsessed. Oh, I gotta
Hmm.
get there. I gotta get there. And I didn't really get to connect with him until he had just finished at Georgetown. Shout out to Mike Sweetney, because I love you to death. Thank you for setting an example. Thank you for the foundation. Thank you for the example that you set for me to, try to mimic and, follow in your footsteps. Yeah, that was major. And before you know it, I'm getting ready for my professional career.
Right.
And first job was in Iceland.
Oh,
Whew,
wow. Okay.
talk about culture shock.
Right.
Talk
You know
about
what I'm going
culture
to ask is
shock.
like, well, when you're overseas, like, my first thing is how's the food? Obviously, you can still. I mean, first you ask about the weather, of course, you know what I mean, and obviously it very much is a culture shock. But what about the food? How was the food? How are all like, the basic things that we look for to like just in our everyday lives, right?
Nah, no question. And so that was my biggest, that was to I didn't want to, not answer your question. My most successful moment was definitely, having the chance to follow my cousin's footsteps and be the second Sweetney in the family to wear NBA jersey. So I would say the biggest disappointment is, rupturing my patella tendon. Finally got the just had my son, biggest blessing of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Just finally made my lifelong dream making it to the NBA. Just finished that, and then I got the second biggest opportunity to play Euro Cup,
Absolutely.
which was, across the board, it checked all the boxes, financially, career wise, and it was,
A great experience then too, right?
great great experience. Yeah, and it could get me back into the NBA. You know
For
what I'm
sure. Oh,
saying?
for sure. For
Um,
sure.
very very first game, ruptured my patella tendon. Doctor told me 9 to 12 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he
Okay.
literally was like, "It's a good chance you'll never be able to play or be the same, that you was." And I'm like,
Right.
I'm 28, like. I didn't put this work in. I didn't already did 6 years overseas. I didn't dealt with the highs of the highs, lows of the lows. Like I just finished playing with the best athletes in on the planet, and I know I'm good enough now. I know I'm good,
Absolutely.
and my confidence was sky high. So to get all to work diligently, put my blood, sweat, tears into everything to get all the way to that mountaintop, and the harness just to break.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, you
It's
talk
almost like
about
it's almost like a humongous heartache, like an unimaginable heartache that you've ever experienced before.
you talk about resilience, right?
Right.
One thing I want to instill in my son is like life is going to spank you.
Mm-hmm.
And there are going to be some storms. You got to get a chair and you got to sit in the middle of it and you just got to know and stay down and just keep believing, keep praying. Don't lose yourself and just know because when that storm is over and that sun come back out, boy, you're going to shine bright and you're going to be a better version of yourself that you can ever thought that ever thought you would have ever imagined.
Yep.
And it was hard. Oh man, it was hard.
And
I
that's why
literally went from
anybody that knows me, Devin, I always say, especially during times of uncertainty or going through maybe like a tough season, I always say you have to grow through what you go through.
yeah.
Right. So there's a learning experience through it, right? Nobody likes all the bad feelings or the
Yeah.
uncertainty that comes with going through a season like that. However, there is growth. We know that for sure that will happen during those times. And you're right, you come out on the other side even better than before.
Yep. And
I definitely agree with that.
I mean, Monica, it got to the point where, I mean, I had staples in my leg. I couldn't walk. I had to
Hmm.
teach myself how to walk.
Hmm.
I couldn't bathe myself. I didn't get in the shower. There was a lady, right? And mind you, I had got this call from this team in the middle of the season. I didn't know nobody there. I was there two
Right,
weeks,
right.
literally 2 weeks. This late. I didn't really know my teammates like that. Like, and shout out to Jimmy Barron and Billy Barron because those guys, showed me the best hospitality. There was a lady that worked in the office, and she would literally come by, go grocery shopping for me, help me clean my place,
Hmm.
cook for me. You know what I mean? Just because she felt bad and have anyone.
And it's a great thing
I,
though too, because that those type of people are very hard to find and come by.
I found out who I was in those
Hmm.
moments.
For sure. It made you reflect a
Yeah.
lot.
And that's when I realized, yeah, your mental different. Because they
Hmm.
told me 9 to 12 months and I came back in six
Okay.
from a
Okay.
ruptured patella, was back on the court playing, running, jumping, dunking.
Okay. So as you're coming off this injury, you're coming off rehabilitating yourself, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, you realize that you are not just a whole different player, you are just a new person. You have
Yeah.
reinvented yourself, right? So from the transitioning from your professional career, right? Playing with the Nuggets, playing overseas, how about going from that part of your life transitioning now to, okay, when you finally know, okay, I feel like this is probably going to be it for me as a player, possibly, right? So you then start pivoting to the coaching side of things. Because
Yeah.
listen, I always say if you can play professionally, that's great. If you can coach professionally, that's great too. But if you are able to do both in the same lifetime, you are extraordinary.
Absolutely. I think the thing is, the beauty of my situation was I wasn't one of those guys that it's like, okay, it's time to hang it up.
Right.
Like I had played the big three, got to experience that, won the championship, and then I was fortunate enough to get selected into the NBA assistant coaches program. I knew I wanted to transition sooner than later. I was 33 at the time.
Do you think this is actually what led you to coaching, this circumstance, this situation?
What with the injury?
Uh-huh.
No, no, no.
Okay.
I mean, the injury, that was after my injury, that was year. 7.
Okay.
I played 5 more years after that.
Okay. Okay.
So I that was, I
You
was
still
able.
had some, you still had playing capability left before
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah, yeah. That happened. Yeah, I did my knee, and I was 28.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so
Just
you're
starting,
young.
just yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was just starting my prime. I was able to go play in Belgium again, France, Greece. The NBA G League. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To play in the BCL Champions League, South America, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay. You know,
We'll just call you world traveler, world athlete.
Yeah,
Okay.
I played in Iran, so it's just like went to Mexico again. Like I turned up after the knee,
Right.
after he told me I wouldn't be the same. What we talk about in the beginning, beat the odds, right?
Right.
That's always been, my kind of, okay, you tell me I can't do something
Watch you.
like when I was 7 years old, I'm gonna make it in.
Mm-hmm.
I know I probably can't touch the net. I'm gonna make it in the hoop though.
Right.
No, that's just always been my whole thing, just beating the odds. Like,
Absolutely.
can't tell me I
Absolutely.
can't do something.
When you first, when I guess, Devin, when you finally started to say, okay, when that leaf turned over and you were like, okay, now here starts my era of coaching now.
Yeah.
What do you think your biggest adjustment was from a player to a coach? And I don't mean obviously the physical side of things, but the mentality. What was that biggest adjustment that
I
you?
think I think for me, I didn't expect to be a coach so soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like it chose me, you know what I mean? Like I got
Okay.
an opportunity, to go to the Bulls to work to do player development with the G League. I didn't know what my expectations were going to be. I had got extended time at home after the big three to, be a football dad, and I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed that. So once I got the opportunity, I was like, I just turned 34, and it was just like, I could probably play 2 or 3 more years, but I'm still going to have to get back to this point.
Right.
2 or 3 years from now, I could be an NBA assistant coach, on the bench somewhere. Like you move up quick. So I thought that was a sign from God, and I wanted to,
For sure.
hear for my son and, my daughter who, was arriving, shortly thereafter. So I just was like, I made a call. I was like, it's
Okay.
time, it's time to step into, the other side. And I think the biggest challenge for me, understanding as a coach is not everybody played basketball,
Right.
and you still have to respect
Mm-hmm.
how the game was taught to them as well.
Right. And
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 I
speak
learned so much,
for sure. And
so
I think,
much.
and I think it also, I mean, you know, as just somebody that enjoys watching, basketball in general at all different levels, I think it actually makes me, just as somebody looking from the outside in, you have a huge appreciation for coaches too, because I think people don't realize how much work goes into that too. You know
Man.
what I mean? I feel like it's a lot more pressure than just, just playing basketball. If you're a player,
Oh
you are
yeah.
just
Oh no.
showing up to play the game, that you love.
Oh no. I told our guys this. I said, listen, boy, y'all got it made, man.
Right.
I come in the gym 2 hours a day.
Right.
Well, well, let's just be a little bit more let's say 4 hours,
Right.
right? Because you're gonna get your extra shots, you're gonna lift your weights
Right.
in 2 hour practice. You have 20 hours left in the day.
That's what I'm
And now
saying.
these kids don't even gotta go to class. They got
Right.
online
That
classes.
part. Exactly.
And they paying y'all to do
Right.
it.
And right.
No,
I
I'm not
know
not paying
it's
you through the
crazy the times that
scholarship.
we're living in now with things of like
It's
that. So
$60,000 to go to St. Francis. Not you're getting paid by getting a free education. Not that.
right.
But you're getting 61,000 covered,
Right.
and you're getting check month
Right.
to month.
So it's not too shabby about being a student athlete.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. That's that. Listen, that's
And,
what I'm saying.
and also like and so also in terms of as we're talking about coaching, Devin, how would you describe your coaching style? What makes you different? What separates you from other coaches?
I'm authentic. And I ain't gonna drop all my gems right now,
We wouldn't
but
ask you to.
I I I relate to the players because I know how they felt. I know
Mm-hmm.
how I felt as a player,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what I would have liked coaches to do.
Right.
I tell all my coaches, man, this for life. My job, I'm not here to be your friend.
Absolutely.
I'm here to be an extension of your
Right.
parents. I'm here to help you see something in yourself that you didn't even know existed. I'm here to
You're
get you
right.
out your comfort zone because you know what? Life is hard.
Very true.
And it's a privilege. It is a privilege to play this game.
I agree. So speaking of that, as we're still, speaking on coaching, let me ask you this. What separates a good coach from a great coach?
I think what separates a good coach from a great coach is number one, how does he treat people? First thing first.
Mm-hmm.
How does he treat his staff?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the work that he puts in. Great coaches, they ain't they ain't just great when they win that game.
Right.
They
Exactly.
they they treat the wins like they treat the losses.
100%. I also think great coaches are also the ones that are an extension beyond the court as well
Yes.
too. You
Yes, they
know.
care. That's why I said how you treat
Mm-hmm.
people. Are you there for your players? Are you there for your staff? Can your players come in and have a conversation with you?
A hundred
Are you going to
percent.
take the time to check in and granted, I get it, being a head coach, I was associate head coach this season. I put out a lot of fires. You hear me?
Right.
I had a lot of responsibility, which I loved, and
Right.
that's what I wanted, But it gave me a chance to sit in the driver's seat in the ride
Mm-hmm.
shotgun to what really goes on to, the preparation part. And I think maybe some coaches might just lose sight of the day to day and the logistics,
Right.
just being caught up with trying to achieve and trying, to have a vision and trying to, stir the ship.
For
You can't
sure.
forget about the people on that bottom bunk, all the way at the bottom, the workers that's, helping and, that's neither here or there. But I think there are a lot of good coaches out here, but
Right.
very few great coaches.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Because before you can lead, you got to be a follow.
You
You got to
do.
be able to follow.
100%.
You know what I
And
mean?
also with that follow, that means learning how to take constructive criticism as well
Criticism.
too. A lot
Yeah.
of people, there are a lot of players that, I just being able to witness how like body posture, like how do you react if you miss a layup? How do you react, if your team hits a buzzer beater? How do you react if a coach just sits you out on the bench? Like, you know what I mean? And I think that also deals with maturity as well too. And
Absolutely.
and also going from, from the player to the coach aspect, and we did touch upon being a mentor, right? Like mentorship out also falls underneath there too, right? The one thing is that I want to ask you is what in your opinion, what does it mean to be a good mentor? What does that how does that resonate with you? How does that translate to you? And how have you from the time that when you were a player at a high school level, college level, even at a pro level, you probably have seen obviously, the changing of times when having a mentor, right? At different stages. So what does it mean to be a good mentor?
Well, I know when I played, I've always had respect for the coaches that listened
Mhm.
and that were brutally honest with me and gave me the real and always challenged me even when I didn't want to hear it. And
Okay.
I've always wanted to be, you know, because it's about your development. When
Absolutely.
you come on the visits, I look mama, I look dad in the eye, and I tell them, I give them my word, you're not gonna have no worries. I'm gonna look after, I'm gonna take care of them. I can't allow you to skate by,
Right.
even if you're getting away with it.
Right. Or how
You
about the
know,
players that just think they are untouchable, whether they're ranked high or a five-star, you know, you still have to put in the work
yeah,
regardless. You
but
know,
it's gonna catch up
it
with you.
is going to catch up. Definitely. Most importantly,
It's gonna catch
definitely
up.
will.
It's gonna catch up with you. And I just tell them like, this is your career. Okay, I got mines. I didn't did
Absolutely.
everything I wanted to say I wanted to do. Yeah, I would have loved to make more money and be in the NBA. I would love to sign $50 million contract. You know,
You can sign me one of those too if you wanted to. I'm just
yes.
saying,
Hey man, we got take this show on the road. And
Right. Outside of basketball, does Devin have any hobbies? Or I should say, who is Devin when the gym is empty?
I am a father. You hear me?
Absolutely.
I am with Devin Antonio Sweetney the second and Malia Alea Sweetney, and they rule my kingdom and my universe.
I love that. I love
If
that.
I'm not watching basketball, I'm with the babies,
I love that,
pouring
Devin.
into them and making sure they're together.
Absolutely. So one thing I want to ask you one last thing before we get into our rapid fire round. And this is more just about reflection. So if you could tell people something, just one thing that you want people to remember you by, what would that be?
Hard working, and I feel like we were put on this earth to serve. While we're here to serve,
Yes.
help others. I'm very hardworking. I help others. I always answer my phone for people. You can't never stop giving back.
Right.
Help other people's
That is
get
the
to
real
their
blessing
destination.
to be a
That's
blessing to
the
somebody else.
yes. Yes. And that's what's just wrong with our society. No one wants to pass the ball.
Literally, you can
Pass.
intertwine that with basketball, right? Like it's the truth. It's the same thing. It's like a life lesson. Okay, so now because since you are the first guest, Devin,
Right.
on our drive-through
Okay.
exclusive, we are going to, I'm sure you probably heard of it, or maybe not, a rapid fire where I'm going to what we like to call it, not just the rapid fire here at the drive-through, we like to call it the express window, right? We have a drive-through, you have to have an
Okay.
express window, right? So
Okay.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is you're going to answer, it's going to be basically me asking you something, and it's either one or the other. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So you have no time to think. It's whatever comes out first. Okay. You ready? You ready for
Let's
the
go.
express window? Okay. Here we go. Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Home cooked meal or dinner out?
Home cook.
Favorite city you've played or coached in? You better think of
Golden
something.
State.
Going to say it. Okay.
San Francisco. San Francisco. Sorry.
Okay, okay. NBA or college basketball?
NBA.
Offense or defense?
Offense.
One player you'd love to have played with.
Kobe Bryant.
Actually, that's a really good one. Okay. One coach you'd love to have dinner with.
Dean Smith.
Toughest player you've guarded.
Kevin Durant.
One song that gets you motivated.
Fantasia when I see you.
I love that song too. Sneakers or dress shoes.
Sneakers.
Okay. I mean, you never know. I mean, listen, basketball players, they step out. You know what I mean? Texting or talking.
Talk.
Okay. One word your friends would use to describe you.
Crazy.
Okay. And last one, finish this sentence. My biggest blessing has been.
My children.
That's great. So I do have one closing question, Devin. Okay,
Okay.
before we wrap up the whole thing. Okay, so with everything that you've experienced as a player, as a coach, mentor, father, and a man, what is one message that you want listeners to take away from your story?
God is everything.
Amen.
Can't do nothing without him at
Absolutely.
all. And sometimes he breaks your heart to save your soul.
I love that. I love that. Well, Devin, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to pull up and have this conversation with
Oh,
me.
this is too fun. Too fun.
Um, honestly, I appreciate your honesty, your perspective, and your willingness to let everyone get to know the person behind the player. and the
Yes.
coach. And also, thank you for being my very first drive through exclusive guest. And to everyone that is listening, make sure that you go follow Devin Sweetney, and we'll be tagging him with his appropriate tags on Instagram. What is it, Devin? Your
At
Instagram?
these, my Instagram is at dsweet, Twitter at dsweetney1, TikTok, I don't know, Coach Sweet something underscore.
Uh, You'll find him. I promise you guys, you will
Yeah,
find
I ain't hard to
him.
find. I
You
ain't
find
hard to.
you will find him. Please make sure that you go and follow him. And so you can see looking more into his journey and how he has evolved. You know, he has just he has an extraordinary story, and he still has so much more to tell. So to everyone that was listening today, thank you so much for pulling up. Make sure that you tune in next week, same time, same place. And until next time, make sure you all take care of yourself. And until then, I will see you all soon. Bye.
Bye.